The New York Jets are making moves as the team just signed a wide receiver to this team in a guy who was widely expected to go to the Jets with his multiple connections to the team, especially with Aaron Glenn. And we are going to break all of this down as he did play his best football with Aaron Glenn. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And guys, if you're part of that 73% that's not subscribed to Jets Digest, this is the place to be for all New York Jets content. You do not want to miss out. We're having a bunch of fun here, but let's jump into the video. We do have a lot to discuss. The New York Jets made a very nice signing today, very sneaky signing, where they brought in wide receiver Josh Reynolds, as revealed by Ian Rappaport, who broke the news that the Jets are signing free agent wide receiver Josh Reynolds today, and he gets a one-year deal worth up to $5 million in incentives. Reynolds played for the Broncos last year and also briefly played for the Jaguars as well, and GM Darren Mougey is more than familiar with Josh Reynolds for that reason. Also, he recently spent time with the Jaguars, Lions, and Titans, specifically the Lions, where he played 3 seasons. Josh Reynolds is an interesting pickup for the Jets. The team desperately needed more wide receiver help. There wasn't a true wide receiver 2 on this team, and frankly, Josh Reynolds could be the answer to this because the Jets, they have Garrett Wilson, who's an awesome piece to have, and the way things are looking, it does feel like the Jets are either going to be drafting another wide receiver somewhere in the higher part of the draft. I'm not saying in the first round, but at some point in the NFL draft, they'll definitely bring in another wide receiver, and it's interesting to see what kind of receiver they'd go for, whether it's more of a slot guy and someone more athletic, a bigger-bodied one. However, they did just bring in a bigger-bodied guy with Reynolds. Reynolds last year played in 9 games, had 13 receptions for 194 yards with 15 yards per reception and 1 touchdown. So he's not a guy who's been a volume wide receiver in the past, but he is a big body guy who's going to be able to get a good amount of targets at the goal line. That'll certainly be helpful for the New York Jets as they just try to figure out this offense. I mean, the offense running game obviously looks really good when you're looking at Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Justin Fields' ability to run. And you have Garrett Wilson, and getting the wide receiver 1 is the hard part here. And the Jets, with their new regime, with Darren Mougey, they walked into that. They walked into having a wide receiver 1 in Garrett Wilson. They inherited a team where Wilson has been absolutely phenomenal, had a season over 1,000 receiving yards this year, showing his best season in football. Also, on the topic of Garrett Wilson, he had 7 touchdowns last year. Prior to that, he had 7 career touchdowns. So Garrett Wilson completely on the cusp of breaking out. And the New York Jets want to make it very clear that he is the wide receiver 1. He seemed a little bit bothered that Aaron Rodgers, when they brought in Davante Adams, that Rodgers was clearly favoring Adams as his wide receiver 1 over Garrett Wilson when it was Wilson's team. And Wilson, well, now he gets the chance to be the clear number 1. Even if they draft a guy, even if they sign someone, there's no one who's going to hold a candle to what Garrett Wilson can do on the football field. The best wide receiver available recently was Stephon Diggs, who the Jets were interested in. However, he did sign with the New England Patriots for like $22 million a year, which is an absolutely insanely high contract, by the way. But where you look at everything, when you look at how the New York Jets are being built, it is promising. It's just still, I'm not thrilled with the wide receiver situation here. Reynolds is not a guy, unless he's going to play under much higher volume than ever before, he's not really a guy to be like, oh, we got Josh Reynolds. Like, this specifically is going to help. Now, it's helpful. Again, it gives them a wide receiver 3 in Josh Reynolds. And if they keep Allen Lazard around, look, Wilson, Lazard, and Reynolds is not the worst wide receiver trio in the world, especially just having Garrett Wilson is very useful. And I honestly like this Josh Reynolds signing. It's cheap. It gives him a wide receiver, a veteran wide receiver as well, who's been around the NFL, been on multiple different teams, differing success levels also, which is super, super important as well. So Reynolds knows many different situations, and he also knows Aaron Glenn specifically, as he did spend 3 years with the Lions from 2021 to 2023, playing not directly under Aaron Glenn. Obviously, Glenn was the defensive coordinator, but Glenn was still a coach of Josh Reynolds', and Reynolds had his best time of his real best seasons were with the Lions. I mean, 97 catches for 1,393 yards for his 2.5 seasons with the Lions, and he scored 10 touchdowns in 38 games with them. That's good numbers. Those are very solid numbers that you could easily make into a wide receiver 2 in the right situation, and definitely a wide receiver 3. So I like this move by the New York Jets. I am curious to see what else they're going to do, because they're not done adding receivers, as I mentioned. I mean, you look at the top 5 names available in free agency right now when it comes down to receivers. You can have Keenan Allen, getting older, was just on the Bears. It's interesting to see where he'll end up. He'll probably favor a contender, obviously, being 33 years old, or nearly 33 years old, being that he's never won a Super Bowl. This would be the chance for him to go kind of ring chase. Same thing with Amari Cooper. He's been in the NFL for 10 years now, which is insanely hard to believe. He bounced around a lot. He had a very, very good start to his career with the Las Vegas Raiders, and then things got a little bit more complicated from there after getting traded to Dallas for that first-round pick. You look at Deontay Johnson, a solid option for the New York Jets. He's outside of when he was on the Ravens, he did not really spend a ton of time with great teams, though he was in the Steelers as well, which is important. Tyler Lockett, who's only ever known the Seahawks, is a free agent. And now with Josh Reynolds, Tyler Lockett is a name that I like the idea of. I mean, good deep pass catcher, always goes to the ground after he catches the football. But he does give the Jets another veteran option who they could sign for a fairly cheap one-year deal as well, and just give Justin Fields a real chance to have a very, very good team where he has an offense to throw to. I mean, that's one of the things with Justin Fields that a lot of people who are pro Justin Fields have said. When has Justin Fields had great receiving options? I mean, in the Bears, he definitely didn't have the best options in the world. The Steelers were very short on receivers as well. Garrett Wilson is by far the best receiver that Justin Fields has played with at the NFL level. So this is going to be really interesting to see, but they do need more. They can't just rely on Garrett Wilson. So it does come down to what the New York Jets are going to be able to do next. And with the NFL draft coming up and free agency winding down, it does start to feel like the Jets are going to target some sort of wide receiver in the draft. I mean, also, there's a world where they'll try to give serious minutes to Malachi Corley. The way the wide receiver room is shaping up right now, I just expect them to, based off who else they have. Like, personnel-wise, it makes sense. Xavier Gibson's just going to be a pure return guy for one more year, then probably walk from the Jets. And you look at Corley, who's still under contract. He's a guy who you're like, okay, he didn't really get a shot at all last year. Let's see if he's got something. What if we have another answer to our wide receiver and just our receiving issues in general with Malachi Corley there? Is that going to be something that we could use, something that we could do? And, I mean, I think it's worth a shot. You're a rebuilding team as much as you don't want to say it. You are a team that's rebuilding. You're not going to win a ton of games this season. It is the team to give Malachi Corley a shot on. Outside of that, you now have your veteran in Josh Reynolds, where I wouldn't mind seeing Malachi Corley in a big spot. I do expect Allen Lazard to continue looking for a trade. And, look, if he doesn't get one, it'll be helpful to have Lazard there because he is a legit NFL receiver, and the Jets are little thin on that. Obviously, tight end is another thing that they have to cover, and there's just been so much Tyler Warren talk that is not going to stop at all, just based off the fact that where the Jets are, they need more receiving help, and Tyler Warren certainly does that and solidifies their tight end position for the next 10 or so years. The thing is, they also need that offensive line, so it's just going to come back to the push and pull of, are the Jets going to go offensive line, or are they going to go tight end? It's one of those two at this point, it feels like. I'd be shocked if it's anything else, but that's all up in the air still, and we're going to see what Darren Mougey's got up his sleeve with the NFL draft upcoming very, very quickly, and we are so excited. We're going to make a ton of videos on it, so you guys do not want to miss out. So make sure you subscribe to Jets Digest, guys. Make sure to like this video, turn on post notifications. It helps us out a ton. We're on that grind. We are closing in on that 5K subscribers, guys. Make sure to hit the subscribe button again. But, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and go Jets.